Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ken, and you know what? I talk about a lot of premium editions and boutique editions and multi-packs and steel books and big box sets. I talk about that stuff. It feels like all the time. That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm showing off. Today I want to do something different. I went over to my regular Blu-ray shelf and I reminisced on some titles that I've had for quite some time. Some I've got kind of recently, but most of these I've had for a good period of time. These are all just basic standard Blu-ray editions that I've acquired in the collection, and they're movies that I've watched over the past few years, or maybe in some cases like 10 years or 15 years. I don't know. I feel like most of these I've seen within the past 10 years or so. A lot of these are kind of newer, so I would have had to have. But I'm rambling already, guys. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Comment down below, guys. Whatever you want to comment on this video. I'm all ears. Leave me a comment in the description. But I'm gonna give some movie recommendations. What I'm basically doing here today. Some Blu-ray recommendations, because sometimes I feel bad trying to promote and push all this stuff that's like $30, $40, $50, $60. I'm like, let's take it easy today. And let's talk about some movies that might be like $10, might be $7, $5, $15. Some editions that aren't, or not editions, just regular releases that don't cost you an arm and a leg. It's not going to put you in the poorhouse, okay? So I'm going to throw out some Blu-ray recommendations, and I do not think that any of these have 4Ks. Will they get 4Ks in the future? It's quite possible. It's quite possible that they will. I'm also going to kind of reminisce as I go through them, just where I remember getting them, when did I get them, and of course I'm going to talk about the movie itself. I'm going to give you the price that is currently on Amazon to purchase them. I will link them down below, guys. If you're interested in any of these titles, if you want to get them, I'll just provide those links down below for you guys in case you want them. Don't have to get them. Don't have to use the links. But if you want to, they're available down below. Let's just get into it, guys. Let's talk about the first one. I've got 10. I've got 10 that I'm going to talk about. 10's always a solid, good number. But let's talk about Chronicle. And Chronicle is a really cool movie. This is a found footage movie, but it's not a found footage horror movie. That's usually the genre that's kind of associated with found footage. But Chronicle is a dark superhero thriller, is what I would use to describe it. So it's a found footage movie, and it's about these kids. It's kind of like Fantastic Four. They like discover, or not like Fantastic Four, but I feel like there was another movie that was kind of like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am thinking of Fantastic Four. It's just the meteor comes down. It's got like space, ooze and stuff on the meteor itself, and they touch it, and they get powers. I think that's how they get powers in Fantastic Four. So it's kind of along the same lines as that. They get powers from this meteor that's emitting some kind of like gas or toxic energy, or I feel like it was some kind of like ooze or something, some kind of like toxic stuff, but I don't feel like it looked quite like that. Anyway, they touch the meteor, which you shouldn't do. If something crashes down from space, guys, you shouldn't go touch it. You just shouldn't do that. They do that, and they all get powers. But what happens after that is basically how these three teenagers kind of cope with their powers. And of course, they go in all different directions. One of them it takes a darker turn, while the other two are kind of trying to be a little bit more superhero-like and save people. But at the end of the day, none of them can really figure out like how to use them. So it's a really interesting look at the superhero genre from the vantage point of, three teenagers that are getting these powers and they have no idea how to use them. And it's also a found footage movie. So you get all this from like the POV perspective. They're filming it, and they come up with creative ways to explain why they're still filming certain scenes and sequences. It's a really good movie. It's one that I haven't watched in quite some time. I don't think I've seen this one. I bought the Blu-ray, I think, back in maybe 2015 or 2016. This was a very early Blu-ray, like when I got back into collecting. So it's probably 2016. When I got back into collecting, this is one of the first Blu-rays I bought. Like this might have been like one of the first 15 that I bought. So it's actually, I think it's directed by Josh Trank. And if you don't know that name, he did the Fantastic Four movie that got just panned by everybody. Like everybody hated that movie from 2015, the one that just sucks. Like I've seen it, it does suck, but it's a good movie. I recommend Chronicle. Like I said, I bought this like in the very early days of me collecting, and this has, I believe, 2 discs in this set. I'm opening it up, and well, you just got the Blu-ray, and then you got, back in the day they used to put the digital copy on an actual like DVD that I think you kind of downloaded on your computer or something. I can't quite remember how it was done because I never did it, but so yeah, cool Blu-ray release right here. I don't think there would be any need for this to ever come to 4K, so I think Blu-ray is as good as we're going to get for Chronicle. But getting into the cost on that one, it is currently, you can get it used on Amazon for $6.83, and it's currently $18.92 on Amazon, which kind of makes sense because it's a 20th Century Fox movie. So I don't see Disney putting this one back out at all. This is one that might just get lost in time over a period of time. But I recommend that it doesn't get lost in time. Put it on your radar, whether it's on streaming, it's physical media. I don't really care. Just watch Chronicle. I think it's a really cool found footage movie, and did something kind of like Cloverfield, did something completely different with that format of filmmaking. Let's talk about 127 Hours with James Franco. Really good survival movie. He gets stuck down in this canyon under a rock, and he has to survive for 127 hours, and he's drinking his pee. And I honestly think it's that's the most interesting thing about this movie, guy. He's drinking his pee. I don't even know why I said that, but anyway, this might be James Franco's best performance. I feel like he's great in a lot of comedies and stuff, but I feel like pound for pound, this is probably his best performance. It's a movie directed by Danny Boyle, and yeah, just a really good, like, gripping, edge of your seat thriller, survival thriller. I mean, you got to watch this guy try to survive, and there's some moments that are pretty freaking gnarly that he has to overcome to survive. So I recommend this one. This is a really good movie. 127 Hours. The Blu-ray for this one is $7.87 right now on Amazon, so not a bad price at all for 127 Hours. I think I got this one, and this is also 20th Century Fox, so this is one that could go out of print at some point as well, I would say. I have zero faith in Disney. Got zero faith at all. But I think this is also an early Blu-ray for me. I remember this one being early. I'm trying to visualize, like, because in my early days of collecting, I didn't have this room always. Like, my basement got finished back in 2019. I started collecting in 2017, around that time. So I had a shelf upstairs in the living room, and I had a smaller shelf, which I still have in the closet over there. And I'm trying to visualize, because back then it just felt so small, compared to what I got now. But everybody's got to start somewhere, right? So I'm visualizing the shelf, and it's like, what movies were on that shelf? And this was one of those. So it was a very early Blu-ray purchase for me, was 127 Hours. So really enjoy that movie, though. That's a top tier recommendation. Another top tier recommendation, I saw this one in the theaters back in 2019, and I really love this movie so much. I haven't revisited it in quite some time, but The Peanut Butter Falcon is an amazing film with Shia LaBeouf, maybe his best movie. You got Dakota Johnson in this movie, maybe her best movie. And the kid that's in this, so it's about Shia LaBeouf's character basically hooking up with a kid that has Down syndrome, because the kid keeps trying to escape the home that he's living in. He doesn't have parents. He's basically an orphan living in this kind of assisted living home. And Shia LaBeouf, he keeps trying to break out. Like, he keeps breaking out, and he eventually, like, takes off and runs, and he catches up with Shia LaBeouf, who's kind of in deep with some people as well. He owes some people some money, and they kind of join forces, and they kind of help each other out. And it's a really sweet story, like almost like a bromance between this kid with Down syndrome and Shia LaBeouf, and how he's kind of like, he doesn't really know how to take the kid at first, but how they eventually just form this friendship, and they're basically both on the run, because the kid's on the run from the home that he's living in, and Shia LaBeouf's on the run from these guys that are looking for him, wanting money from him, and they have to figure out how to get out of these situations together. And it's really fun. It's almost like an adventure film at times. Like, it kind of feels like Tom and Huck, because they get on this like river, this like raft, and they're floating down the river. And I think it might take place in Louisiana, but this is a really, really good movie. It's super emotional, so it's like bring a couple tissues, because you might need them. Look, guys, I'm almost 40, and I'm almost a 40-year-old man. I'm 38 right now. I will admit, I squirt some tears sometimes, when I watch the movies. It happens. It didn't happen when I was younger. Like, I was tough, and I was like, I'm going to hold them back. Now I just let them go. Peanut Butter Falcon is one of those movies that it's worth letting them go. It's just a really sweet story, and I love this movie. Love this movie so much, but it's been so long since I've seen it, it feels like. The Peanut Butter Falcon, I recommend it, though. You can get it on Blu-ray for $9.99. That's a steal. You can get Peanut Butter Falcon for $9.99, a steal. Now, it's probably on a streaming service. It's probably on Hulu or some other streaming service, but I recommend that you get it because I think it's worth it. The Nice Guys. This is directed by Shane Black. It's got Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling. It's a buddy cop movie that's set in Los Angeles. It is, like, stylistically and cinematography wise, it reminds you of LA Confidential. Now, the tone is completely different because this is way more comedic than LA Confidential, but it kind of feels like it fits in that same universe, but it's a really good buddy cop film. It's also got Kim Basinger in it, just I think 20 years later, but she still looks great in the movie. But the little girl that's in it is actually in like the newer Spider-Man films, and I think she was in a movie recently. I can't quite remember what that was. But she's only like 11 or 12 in this. I think she's Ryan Gosling's daughter in the film. But she's really good. But they just have a really, really fun dynamic. Like, you see Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe, you're like, how does that fit together? But like, they're so good together in this movie. They have so much chemistry together. And it's fantastic. Really great buddy cop movie, The Nice Guys. And that Blu-ray release is $16.99. This one's a little bit more pricey on Amazon. I remember getting this in a Best Buy with the slipcover for $8 back in the day. That was back in the good old days where you could go down multiple aisles and pick out your movie. And there were all kinds of great Blu-ray deals back in the day, guys. It was really incredible. But The Nice Guys I got for $8. It's currently $16.99. I don't know if Warner Brothers will ever upgrade this. I just did a video talking about Warner Brothers movies. I would love for them to upgrade The Nice Guys, but I don't know if they ever will give this movie the time of day. So maybe just get the Blu-ray release. I highly recommend it, though. Very fun movie. Very fun movie. If you like Beverly Hills Cop meets LA Confidential, like stuff like that, I think you'll like The Nice Guys for sure. We got more Ryan Gosling to talk about. Look, Ryan Gosling was really firing on all cylinders in the 2010s. Like, he had so many fantastic films. Nowadays, he has good films, and it just feels like he's having a lot of fun. But I wish he would go back to the days, the 2010s, and do some of these like hard-hitting dramas that he did, because he was so incredible in these movies. But The Place Beyond the Pines is a movie that I love. This one is a really cool film. You got Ryan Gosling, you got Eva Mendes, you've got Bradley Cooper, Ray Liotta is in this film as well. But it's kind of a heist movie that kind of goes in a more like crime thriller direction. Now, there are some things and twists and turns that happen in this film that will throw you for a loop, but it's a good thing, guys. It's ultimately a good thing, I think, for the story that this movie is trying to tell. The last act, this is really like a 3-act movie, in every sense of the word. Like, it feels like 3 very distinct acts. Like, usually people will say the third act of a movie, the second act of the movie. You can't really like see where that transitions. This one, it's very clear how those acts transition. And I remember the last act, like some people being a little down on, but I thought it was absolutely necessary to be able to tell this story in a very complete way. So I was all for it. But The Place Beyond the Pines, there is something very jarring that happens in this film. I will say it will throw you for a loop, but it's a fantastic film. Bradley Cooper, Ryan Gosling, Eva Mendes, fantastic movie. I highly recommend Place Beyond the Pines. This is one that I think, I don't know if it'll ever get upgraded, but I think it would make a fantastic Second Sight 4K. Absolutely fantastic Second Sight 4K. And you can get that Blu-ray, guys, for $19.10. So that's a little bit more pricey. I will say, like, I remember getting this at the Dollar General for like $4. Like, that's where I got it back in the day. So the fact that it's $19.10 just shows that I made the right choice back when I grabbed this one at the Dollar General for $4. All right, guys, this one's it's taking a little bit too long. I didn't mean for this video to take so long, but I just like talking about stuff. We'll go through these last 5 fairly quickly, but Role Models, great comedy. I love this movie so much. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. You got the kid McLovin from Superbad. I forget his name, but you got Sean William Scott kind of making a little bit of a comeback, because this was, I think, what was this, 2008? So it wasn't that long removed. I don't know why, but like 2008 to 2001, like I think when American Pie 2 came out, felt like forever. Like, I felt like he was making a comeback after like 10 or 15 years when this movie came out, but it was really only like 7, and now 2008 doesn't feel like it was that long ago to me. So it's just crazy how time works. But Paul Rudd is in this movie. It's a really funny comedy. about two guys that are selling energy drinks, and they're just kind of down on their luck, and something happens. They have to do community service, and their community service is taking care of these kids, not with special needs, but just kids that are. It's kind of like a Big Brother type thing. That's what it is. It's kind of like a Big Brother type thing. They like take the kids out. They're kids that are kind of sheltered and don't get out very much. The one kid likes LARPing, and the other kid is just a troublemaker. So they're kind of hooked up with these two kids, and they have to help them find themselves, and then the kids have to help them find themselves. And it's a sweet story. I like Role Models, and it's super hilarious and funny as well. So definitely check out Role Models. You can get the Blu-ray for $14.49. Why are these Blu-rays so damn expensive? This is Universal. Like, just put this one out on 4K. Jeez Louise. Sorry, guys. I was trying to save you some money, but some of these Blu-rays are a little pricey. Definitely hit up some thrift stores. Like, maybe you can find some of these in some thrift stores. But The Master, guys. The Master. This is an Anchor Bay Blu-ray. You can get it for $12.99. And this is a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I really like this movie. Joaquin Phoenix is a drifter. And you got Philip Seymour Hoffman, who passed away, I think, almost 10 years ago now, right? Wasn't it like 2015 he passed away? But this was, I think, one of his last great performances. He's fantastic in this film. It takes place around, I think, like right after World War II. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, some kind of like rich, uppity guy who kind of welcomes Joaquin Phoenix into his home, and then some sinister things start to happen and take place. But it's a great movie. Joaquin Phoenix is fantastic. Philip Seymour Hoffman, the way they play off each other is fantastic. You got Amy Adams in the mix as well. So this, to me, is one of Paul Thomas Anderson's best movies. So I really, really enjoy The Master, and I highly recommend that one for sure. I keep wanting to put my Blu-rays over there, but it's right there. I'm putting them. Next up, we got Top Secret. I love Top Secret. If you like Naked Gun, if you like Airplane, and you haven't seen Top Secret, I recommend this one as often as I can, because I think that this one's super overlooked, and everybody always talks about Airplane and all the other, great comedies from the 80s, spoof comedies, but they don't mention Top Secret with the great Val Kilmer, who's just fantastic in the movie. Top Secret, high recommendation. This Blu-ray is still $14.99. That's exactly how much it was when it came out. And I bought it brand new when it came out because I love this movie. I hope it gets a 4K. I hope it gets like a Major League Steelbook type 4K with cows on it and a little German on the back. I speak a little German. He's sitting right over there. Hey! Top Secret is fantastic. I love the movie though. So good. I've been watching that one since I was a kid with Naked Gun. And I was always shocked when I got older. Nobody had ever heard of Top Secret. Like, watch Top Secret. It's amazing. We got two left. Hardcore Henry is really, really a lot of fun. I did not hear the best things about this movie before watching it, and I watched it, and I was like, God damn, that is such a fun movie. Like, I'm a big video game fan, and this is like there are some movies that try to simulate a video game, and they fail miserably. This movie does it perfectly. Like, you feel like you are in the shoes of a character that you're playing, and it's not boring. It doesn't feel like you're watching somebody play a video game. It feels like you're in the video game, like actually playing it. I don't know how the movie pulls it off, but they do it. And I thought this was a super cool movie. Like, there's a few sequences in the film where they kind of call back to RoboCop, which are really freaking awesome. Remember that POV sequence when he wakes up for the first time? Such a great sequence. This movie tries to, rip it off, but it does it in a good way, in a way that's clearly an homage to RoboCop. So I really love Hardcore Henry. I think it's a lot of fun. Great action in this film, and just some really suspenseful moments. And there's some good twists and turns at the end too. So Hardcore Henry is a top tier recommendation, and I think you can get this for $5.99. So here's a cheap Blu-ray, guys. Here's a cheap one, $5.99 for Hardcore Henry. And lastly, this is a movie that came out last year, but I really enjoyed it. Cobweb. I thought that this was that year's Malignant. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Just a story that you think is one thing, and then it turns into something else, and then it gets batshit crazy by the end. So I really liked Cobweb. I thought this was a really good movie, so I definitely highly recommend this. Now, if you want a full review of this, if you want to hear my more in-depth thoughts on this film, go check out Married with Media. That's the channel I do with my wife. We review new movies and TV shows, and we do live streams every Monday night. Go check out that channel. We reviewed Cobweb last year, so there's a full review of this from me on that channel. Go check it out, but really enjoyed Cobweb. I'd probably say this was in my top 3 horror movies of last year. I liked it that much. Cobweb is super fantastic. And you got Homelander in this film, guys. If you like The Boys, Anthony Starr, or maybe it's Anthony, I think is what it is. He's in this movie as the dad, and he is awesome in this film. So highly recommend Cobweb. This was a really, really fun, fantastic watch for sure. And you can get that for $13.33 right now on Amazon. So that is not too bad at all. But thank you all so much for watching, guys. I just like to talk about movies, so I thought this would be a fun video to do. Give me some feedback in the comment section. Do you like this kind of like random recommendation Blu-ray type video? Again, no special editions, no premium steelbook chunky box sets, just nice, affordable Blu-ray releases. Even 1910, you know, that's pretty affordable, guys. Pretty affordable. But thank you all so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the good YouTube stuff. Turn on bell notifications and follow me on my social media accounts down below in the description. And we'll see you next time.